Uh, Last time I looked, Middletown Township at 91, Marple 74, Haverford 42, Nether Providence 34, Yeadon 33, and Darby 25, which is pretty high because they're our population.
Yeah, I'm surprised Darby only has 25.
25 is pretty high. Their population is about 5,000, I believe. Ours is 1,005, yeah.
Well, what is ours?
Ours is, last time I looked, it was 33.
No, I mean, what is our population?
11,000, like 400.
Oh, their population is that much smaller than ours?
Yeah, they're half the size, population-wise, yeah.
Oh,
Darby's very small population-wise.
oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, participants.
Good evening.
Ron?
Is this Philly?
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, counselor.
Hey, y'all. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not bad at all.
What's up, Dave?
Hey, Chi.
How's everyone?
Great.
Is it Chief?
Hello.
Hey, Chief, your officer just swung by and checked in. Thank you.
He walked away, counselor.
Do we have all counselors on?
Everybody except Counselor Johnson. All are present except Counselor Johnson, it appears. I just called Counselor Johnson. She said she's calling in right now.
Thank you. Miranda, can you call and assist her with getting on? She said it isn't working. All right, so we'll wait for Miranda because she'll have to take notes.
Ms. Stevens is going to assist Counselor Johnson. We're going to start.
All right, so we can get started. Do you want to start with roll call?
Yes, Mayor Hempkins,
Present.
President Monroe,
Present.
Vice President Francis,
Present.
Counselor Cave,
Hi, everybody. I'm here.
Counselor McCabe,
Present.
Counselor Jones Waters,
Present.
Counselor Rocloud,
Here.
and Counselor Johnson is trying to get in. Ms. Stevens is helping her. Solicitor Gibbs,
Good evening, everyone present.
Mr.
evening.
Nichols,
Present.
and that completes the roll call.
Okay, do we have any citizens on the line who wish to speak for citizens forum? All right, hearing none, we'll move on with our abbreviated agenda to approval of the minutes of April 16, 2020 legislative meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Murphy.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so is that all ayes and no nays? The motion carries. Next, we'll move on to our president's report. You should have in your email, if you haven't already seen it, we've updated our polling places for this upcoming election on June 2nd. Because Grace Court is going to be closed, and there would be some difficulty for the election board to kind of return or restore the borough properties back to the original condition as far as the requirements for sanitization. So we have consolidated our polling places to just the school buildings. We have a flyer that's circulating. It's on our website. It'll be on Nextdoor, and it'll let people know at those polling places where the old polling places where they would need to go now. So we're consolidating between Cypress, Bel Air, and and Evans. Also, later on the agenda, you'll see the Black Doctors Consortium has offered to come to Yeadon to do COVID testing for Yeadon residents. Typically, they do have that symptom, like you would have to have symptoms. We've determined that anyone who's been exposed recently, it's gone outside at all recently, has been exposed to something. So the chief has set up around St. Louis Church on West Cobbs. Chief, do you want to let them know about like how that will run through?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I have 6 officers that are going to be assigned to the function. People will come in off of West Cobbs into the driveway that leads up into the back parking lot. I'm going to set it up so there's at least 2 rows. If we start to get a good amount of people, there'll be a 3rd row that'll be set up for a drive-through near the exit of the St. Louis parking lot, so they can go right back out on the West Cobbs. There'll be an officer stationed at the testing site area, and I'll have 2 officers in the parking lot, and then 2 officers at the entranceway to check to make sure it's a Yeadon resident coming in. And then I'll have an officer that'll be set up out front with the walk-up section for people that I'm going to put on the front. There's like a front pathway right in front of the church, so it's a few steps up from the curb line, so that we can keep people up that way, away from the curb. But I'll have enough people that the supervisor will be able to float around and keep an eye on everything, make sure everything's running smoothly. The church has been very helpful in agreeing to be part of this and help us out with it. And I think it's a great location to keep everybody safe and get everything done and not impact the surrounding area by keeping everything on West Cobbs. As wide as it is, if for some reason we get overwhelmed and there's traffic that has to park along West Cobbs, traffic will still be able to go both directions. I'm going to move the speed sign down that way tomorrow to make sure that helps out and reducing speed while everything's going on. Right now they're just calling for scattered rain, I think, on Saturday, so I think we'll get through it with no problem. And if there's any questions, I can answer them.
All right, so I just wanted to give everyone a little bit of background for that. I did also realize that after we decided that we would, look into their invitation, the county followed up with, we're also bringing mobile testing to Yeadon. So I think they recognized that we weren't, just waiting and that we wanted to take care of our own residents. So the cost of it is $25,000, but it can be reimbursed under the Emergency Act, FEMA, and so we think that it's something great for our community, taking care of ourselves. Let's see, what's next on the agenda? We have Councilor Cave, show is yours.
How you doing, everybody? Let's see. Let's start with. I'll ask for a motion for the consideration of the accounts payable list.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question. Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate a yes vote.
Aye, Rafi.
Aye, Ron.
Yes, Clara.
Aye, McCabe.
Aye,
Blue I'm a yes as well.
Aye, Celia. Jones Waters.
Thank you. I believe that's everyone. All right, the vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
Madam President, I am also asking for a motion for the approval of the cash balance report.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, all in favor, please indicate your yes vote by raising your hand.
Aye, Rafi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Everybody's not on video. Aye.
Aye, Ron. My hand's up.
Aye, Clara.
Aye, McCabe.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Councilor Jones Waters.
Okay. And are we missing Councilor Roquel?
Aye.
All right, so the vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm also seeking a motion to approve the COVID-19 testing performed by the Black Doctors Consortium in the amount of $25,000. Is that, I just want to clarify, that's just for the contribution, not to approve technically the testing, right?
Yes, that's just a monetary amount.
Cool.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I'd also like to add that this is a significant reduction from what they normally charge for a borough of our size. They would typically charge about $40,000. After explaining to them the need in our community and some of the challenges that we face, they actually reduce the cost to just cover the supplies. The doctors are volunteering their time.
Question.
Yes.
Do we know what kind of a test is given? Is it a nose swab or an oral?
It's a nasal swab.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Madam
I
President,
have a question.
How have we advertised?
So right now we've advertised on social media, and they and the Black Doctors Consortium, they do their own advertising as well. They've been getting a lot of media coverage.
So I just one point of
Have
clarification.
they gotten calls? There's a thing on the website that you should register.
Yes, that would be their requirement, but we've actually asked that we waive that requirement. So we don't need to pre-register.
Oh, okay.
so the people who show up will register on a paper form. If you register online, you would wind up with a number, and they can just do the testing. If you register with a paper, it's 2 pages. Their plan is they submit the test to the lab, and after they get done submitting the test, they contact first anyone who tests positive and give them medical advice. Anyone who tests negative is mailed out their results.
I have a question, Leanna Roquel.
Ma'am?
The $25,000. What is the itemized description for that cost?
That cost covers the supplies, the test kits that are needed.
Now, from what I understand, the reimbursement from PEMA, it was my impression that the reimbursement is only if this event is Yeadon specific. When I looked at the advertisement, it did not say it was Yeadon specific. So I'm a little concerned that we will not be reimbursed that money.
So we're not going to be reimbursed off of the advertisements. We're going to be reimbursed based on the actual tests that were given, and we will be able to collect registration information at the test.
So basically, when people come up to take the test, they're going to be asked to show ID, and if their ID does not reflect them as being a Yeadon resident, then they will be turned away. Is that correct?
That is correct. Provided that we approve it this evening. We also didn't want to advertise it as a borough sponsored event until we were sure that we were able to sponsor it as an event. So we can add information to the flyer once we're able to approve the expenditure this evening.
Madam President, if I may.
Yes.
We have a number of volunteer firefighters and police officers, even the host of our event, who are not necessarily Yeadon residents. I'd ask the motion be amended to allow for any first responders that service or are employed by the borough to be tested, included with this.
Can we move for that amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Hold on. Should we add? Hold on. This is Mayor Hopkins. On that note, and to your point, Solicitor, should we add also borough employees in case they need to be?
Sure.
So I would say that at this point, we're limiting it to the essential personnel. Non-essential personnel should be at home.
Okay.
I think we limit to first responders and residents. That was the.
So, as far as filtering non-Yeadon residents, right? Like, so I know the consortium also advertises just kind of at their will to their folks as well. How it doesn't make mention of non-Yeadon residents. I feel like if we do filter, which if that's our prerogative, yeah, I guess we could do that. But if we do filter, how are we doing that? I mean, I foresee a lot of people getting turned back at the door.
So we'll also be able to offer them alternative dates and other testing sites. We can also direct them to like Rite Aid, and because Rite Aid is doing free testing. So we'll have a list of other resources that are available where they can get free testing. We're not going to just say, not here, not now.
And just so I'm clear, the Black Doctors Consortium, they're aware this is a Yeadon resident testing facility site, and they will be included in it also.
Mm-hmm. And then the chief and his guys will be pre-screening at the beginning of the line.
I have a question.
Ma'am?
What if a resident does not have their their driver's license or something? Would it be open to other kind of identification?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
The chief and I had a very long, protracted discussion this morning about discretion. I'm certain if someone gave him, I live at 123, Cypress, the chief is going to have exercise discretion to allow that person to be tested. I don't think he's sending home an older woman or older man who drove up without an ID and saying, go get your ID and come back. He may give them a ticket for having their ID when they're driving, but they'll be able to get their test first.
So other than reimbursement factors, why else would we need to turn away anybody? I mean, if they're, if they're a Darby resident, if they're a Lansdowne resident, like, they pass through Yeadon or they, interact with the Yeadon residents, why would we limit outside of the borough?
Councilor Cave, I think that is an excellent question, and that's a question that Mr. Nichols and I discussed earlier today, because once we're done testing, we don't get to put walls up around the borough. Mr. Nichols, are you on the line? Well, the goal for us, at least for him, was to raise some money, and also for me to raise some money to help cover some of the costs for the borough. I fully anticipate, I've read not only FEMA, but FEMA's regulations for reimbursement. Testing, reporting on the test, setting up a test site is reimbursable. But I think that you raise a point that council should consider: what happens to the person who leaves or comes into the borough tomorrow and infects residents. I know you've been talking to people. Do you want to talk to council about that at all?
Yes, I had a conversation with FEMA today, and as long as we can identify that the vast majority of these individuals are Yeadon residents, we shouldn't have a problem with the reimbursement. Like Mr. Gibbs indicated, he and I both started some fundraising efforts today as well, so that we can make sure that if we, for example, say 75% of the participants were Yeadon residents and FEMA say they will only reimburse for 75%, that we have excess funds that we fundraise to cover the additional cost, so there's no cost to the borough. So we have 3 commitments for sure for sponsorship for this type of event. And again, we did confirm with FEMA today that it will be reimbursed.
Mm-hmm. And part of this kind of being done out of order was really us being at the mercy of the Black Doctors Consortium. As you probably know, they've been in really high demand, and they've really been responsible for dictating a day. They actually originally gave us this past Tuesday, but we thought that it was just way too soon, that we wouldn't be able to advertise it and we wouldn't reach the masses like we intended. So we asked them for a later date. So yeah, so a lot of this is, just trying to work around other people's schedule. It's when, government works a little different. So we still had to make sure that we were able to vote on it. So
question, Latoya, how old does the person be, Council President?
Mr. Gibbs, I think they have to be 18 and older, right?
So there is a pediatrician they have with them. And if this is the part of why they want people to pre-register. There's a pediatrician who's volunteering. I think you have to be older than 2. With a parent who can consent to a medical procedure. Other than that, you need to be 18 or older. But I say that, and I'll tell you the doctors, their position is we're not turning anyone away, and they're particularly concerned about teenagers because teenagers are what they're called silent carriers of the virus.
I know this is just the financial portion of the motion of the coordination, but I'm in favor of, and I don't know if it's an option, of not having a residency restriction.
I'm sorry, not having a
residency restriction.
I agree with that.
All right, so
and even if that means it equates to a little less reimbursement, I honestly, and I'm open to anybody's opinions, but I'm okay with that as well.
So what I would say, if we want to go that route, Mr. Gibbs, as we're fundraising, I think one thing we can do is access the county's pot to see if it's something that they could potentially do through the emergency COVID money that they receive as we're offering testing.
And I'd also like to contribute that I had a call with Dr. Monica Taylor today, and she told us that the last week in May, the county will send a mobile unit to Yeadon, and that is going to be open to everyone. So at the very worst case scenario, if we do target our residents for this one, we can let them know to come back next week. and we'll have testing open for everyone.
Madam President, we are quickly approaching the time frame for the current Zoom account that we have. I have a law firm. I'm going to ask that we discontinue this Zoom session and go into another one because we only have 5 minutes left. And I don't know if we're going to conclude our business. So can I give out my Zoom number for people to leave this one and join another Zoom session?
All right, let's.
My Zoom ID, the meeting ID will be my cell phone number, which is 267-320-5632. 267.
Can you repeat that?
267.
Why don't you just send a text to everybody's phones?
Because
there are residents on the call. 267-320.
5632. I'm gonna do it one more time, Madam President.
Please.
Madam 267. Madam President. Do you have it, or does anyone have it? I need to open that room up in order for this to work. It's 267-320-5632.
So you're asking me to leave this call and open that up?
I know I need to leave this call. If you can get a number out a couple more times.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Gibbs, do you have a dial-in number? You have 2 counselors that have to physically dial in.
Yeah, I'm certain we do.
Or we can just restart this one and we can send another one out. You just have to close it and then we can resend it.
However you want to. I mean, the problem is it's not the same meeting ID.
Oh, right, that's true.
So I can give you a guaranteed meeting ID. I need a second.
Don't we need a password?
Oh, there's no password. I'm deactivating password now.
Okay.
So the number is 267-320-5632.
Yes.
God bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Seasonal allergies, I promise.
If you give me 1 second, I'll give you the phone number. I just got to find out how to do that.
Okay, so I guess we can resume back at 7:35, and then we can contact Counselor Francis and Counselor Johnson directly.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, folks.
Thank you.